Once again, the pressure is building. A release valve for the health service is a hammer blow to the economy. At the UK's only cappuccino machine maker, the production line can keep going during this new lockdown, but with hospitality in hibernation, its servicing department is now surplus to requirement.
So within how many minutes of the announcement were you furloughing staff?
Within half an hour.
Manufacturing is still able to go ahead, so
Yes.
your guys can still come in here working.
Yes.
But how long have you actually got orders in for?
We've got orders in to run us probably 3 weeks at the moment.
And then after that?
And then after that, suck and see what happens.
With businesses from barbers to bookshops buying coffee machines to help stay open, sales here have held up. Not so in the first lockdown. And when sales dried up, there was a hefty hit to what they gave the taxman.
Normally our VAT's like 120 grand a quarter, and then we were like £6,000. You know.
£6,000?
Yeah.
That's all the government got out of you?
That's it. Nothing. So we were hemorrhaging money, really.
With very little coming in, the Chancellor today announced billions more going out. The government has announced £4.6 billion for companies hit by the latest lockdown. £4 billion of that is for retail, hospitality and leisure firms who can claim up to £9,000 each. And a further £594 million discretionary fund will be made available to councils to support other businesses affected by the restrictions. Relief, but more may well be needed, say business groups and the West Midlands Mayor.
Is that £9,000 enough for the vast majority of businesses?
No, it's not enough, because we're going to need to come to some of the long-term support for the return to business, but it is definitely a good start for this period where we are closed.
With shops shut and no definite reopen date, business leaders say the Chancellor needs to announce extra support right now. He's less keen.
We'll have a budget in early March where we'll take stock of all the various support that we've put in place, including today's announcement of cash grants, and then review and set out the next stage of our economic response to coronavirus at that point.
But there are many businesses that might not make it to March.
January for a gym owner is the busiest time of the year. This is where people make the New Year's resolutions and their new goals, exactly what they can do. This is the make or break for any gym owner.
Wahid has 3 gyms, a boxing academy and a bank balance on the ropes.
How far does £9,000 go here?
£9,000 in itself will go nowhere, like I could tell you. Like, that won't cover anything. We've got our rent, like I said, we've got the finance for the gym equipment, we've got the electric, it will keep the gym open. But what about myself? What about my fuel? What about my food? What about my rent? You know, then how am I ever going to survive?
How long more can you continue hemorrhaging cash like this?
I have no idea. I don't know how I get through it, to be fair, because I'm just taking it day by day. I could lose my businesses, I could lose my house. I could pretty much lose everything now.
The government says 600,000 businesses will benefit from today's announcement. Figures they don't have, though, how many more firms may disappear into the night within grasping distance of mass vaccinations and brighter days ahead. So lots more money pumped into the economy, but tonight the devolved administrations in Scotland and Wales saying actually their share of this, quote, new and additional £4.6 billion is neither new or additional. They say it's already been allocated under that complicated formula used to work out devolved finances. And when we spoke to the Treasury earlier on, they said actually it was allocated on New Year's Eve, but only announced today. This is a mere comms issue. But tonight, the Welsh Government very angry about this. They're calling for greater transparency. The Scottish Finance Minister has said she's, quote, both surprised and disappointed. And of course, you heard it earlier on there, the Chancellor trailing his budget in March, dangling the hope there of potential support and more financial help. All eyes now in the business community and devolved administrations will be on the details behind any giveaways.
Well, the new strain of the virus has helped to send cases soaring in places which thought they had the outbreak relatively under control. Our North of England correspondent Claire Fallon has been speaking to people in one area of Liverpool where there's real concern about the impact of yet another lockdown on families already struggling to cope.
After many months of different rules in different places, it's back to stay at home. A universal rule, although not felt equally.
People are in small houses with quite a few children, trying to keep them warm, trying to keep them fed, trying to keep the 6-year-old engaged in online learning if they have access to it. It's just, yeah, it's quite frightening really what the consequences are.
At this nursery and family centre in Liverpool, they're open and will stay that way for all the children who usually come here. But with older siblings at home, they know school closures mean more pressure for families and a longer lasting impact for many children.
Lost education, that's probably my biggest worry at the moment. Children are quite stressed out by the whole thing. I know that goes right across from early years right through to university students not having a normal life.
Lockdown comes at a cost, but they don't underestimate the risks from the virus, not least because in October, Rebecca was in ICU with COVID.
They told me, Dad, I was likely to die, and I don't have any underlying health conditions.
This is her first week back at work, but another lockdown means the drop-in sessions and courses they normally run for parents can't restart.
We can do a quick home visit, but we can't sit down and spend time with people to build those relationships and find out what's really going on in a household. We don't know.
Only a couple of weeks before Christmas, the COVID case rate in Liverpool had come right down. It was less than 100 cases per 100,000 people, and a big change from where things were at earlier in the winter. Just 1 week ago, Liverpool was in Tier 2, unlike most places in England. But things are shifting again, and the numbers are going up quickly. The impact of COVID is not the same for everyone, everywhere. Today, a report from the Institute for Fiscal Studies warns the gaps are getting bigger. Deprivation, race, gender, and geography are all factors, with inequalities in health and wealth, and also education.
It's trying to know what to do and what to do best for these, because obviously I do have to work, so my children need to be looked after.
Tracy's a nurse, so her children can keep on going to school. But instead, they were getting tested today because Kian and Kira have COVID symptoms. For Tracy, it means more to juggle.
I've got a mum who has to isolate as well, so she lives on her own. We lost my dad last year to COVID, April the 2nd, so the very beginning of the first lockdown.
How's your mum?
Not very good. Obviously, we just miss them like mad, so...
It's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. My partner also lost his mum as well in September to COVID as well, so we've had a rough time of it, to be fair. So they've lost the nan and the granddad, haven't you? They've never known anything like this. Well, I haven't known anything like this, so it's just, hopefully, touch wood, that we can get back to some sort of normality by the summer.
For now, though, it's head down and get through it, while hoping things are different by the summer, and that summer comes soon.